Renata themselves, what it's typically binded with. Now, V5, they could look towards the Viego with the Wukong being banned, but they're actually going to very quickly go for Nautilus Taliyah. I'm going to reveal these are both champions who remove Kalista's ability to have fun.
Yeah, and honestly, the Taliyah is an interesting one as well. Definitely has fallen to the wayside of priority for V5, or not even just V5, the LPL, I should say. But the Amumu locked in, that is almost certainly going to Chocho in that bot lane. So AL, not to be outdone here. They're quick as they can be. They're saying, look, give us the Gangplank, give us the Amumu in the bot lane. We've got ways of dealing with this now. V5, they may try go for Photic onto this Draven. Draven, fantastic with the aggression of the Nautilus to try and shut down something like the Kalista.
Yeah, it would make a really hard laning phase for the Kalista. Obviously, Kalista wants to take those extended fights, stack up the Ren stacks. Draven will just throw an axe at your head. Makes it difficult. And the Amumu is an interesting one because we kind of did see a bit of Amumu come in because people were theorizing it. We saw it in the LCK, specifically into Zeri. You take Amumu and your E actually reduces damage per auto, and it takes damage of every single part of the Q from Zeri. You build a Warden Smail as well, and Zeri just tickles you. But what's interesting is we actually have buffs on the next patch for Amumu, and I kind of think because people have seen it is decent into Zeri, and because people have seen the buffs that are on the live server, people have just started picking him up and gone, oh, actually this champion was okay on 12-11, and now we're seeing it come in. Obviously it has the 2 stacks and the bandage toss for that strong engage potential, and the ult is a great team fighting tool. So we'll see that paired up with the Kalista in the bot lane. The way you can throw it in obviously gives that extra engage potential.
I love the Renekton ban. It's such a fun thing. It will, again, that could be Karsa on the Taliyah in the jungle, could be a Taliyah in the mid lane or top. Probably not top, but definitely could be going to a solo lane. But we'll see what they want to go for. And V5 is saying, look, we're going to ban away some of the big AD solo threats. Then they haven't banned away the Viego just yet from Xiaohao. They're kind of maybe forcing them into something. They're saying, look, we know how to deal with this. We know how to, you know, kind of contain something like a Viego. You're not going to get the Nocturne that has that global threat, and you're not going to have that Lee Sin that has a burst potential in that early stage.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Veil bans something like the Kale here. They could also look to ban the Viego, forcing potentially that Taliyah into the jungle with the options banned. Actually going for a Silas ban. Ahri is open, by the way, so maybe toying with the idea of that, but you've kind of just set up V5 potentially take it themselves if they're willing to put that Taliyah in the jungle. Doesn't mean you have AP mid jungle, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but at the end of the day, it does deny away the Ahri from Forge, and Dream has been fantastic on this pick.
Yeah, he really has. And Rich going to go for the Aatrox. They're going to wait till the last pick to really see where Dream and Karsa have actually kind of solidified themselves. And honestly, I like that because, yes, you can go for the Ahri, but things like the LeBlanc, the Lissandra, hell, even the Vex, if you really want to try and get a little bit more nuance about it, are available for anyone's Legend. So Forge would have options available to him. Looks like the Swain is the thing they're going to be hovering at the moment. And yeah.
Forge on Swain. What a surprise.
Surprise, as they come finally lock it in.
This is something he has picked consistently so far. And looking to bring this one out. I feel like, yeah, you can just pair it with the Viego. The fact that it's kind of a Viego going down this far in priority is kind of a surprise. But, you know, you have a lot of engage potential with the Amumu. The Swain is obviously going to be able to get up close and personal, but actually they end up going for the Diana instead. So something that has a pretty fast clear time, something that can be pretty painful for Draven and Taliyah if it gets on top of them, but not the most impactful in the early levels. And now with a V5, do they put the Taliyah in the jungle or do they keep it in the mid lane?
I like the Yone here for Dream, and he's going to be putting himself onto a carry. So the pure burst available to V5. You get caught out on anyone's Legend, you're going to die. Even if you're the Amumu, there's nothing you can do about this pure combination coming out here for V5.
Yeah, I mean, Yone can be so strong and really hard to punish because he can avoid CC quite easily if you time your E correctly. You dash back so you can't get locked down. And on top of that, I just feel like the people I feel worst for in this game are the AD carries. Playing Kalista into Nautilus, Taliyah, Yone, Draven, not a fun time. Playing Draven into Diana, into Swain, into Amumu, who's going to get thrown on a Kalista ult, GP, who has the Cannon Barrage, once again, not a fun time. So we'll see. We'll see what they're able to do. So they mentioned as well, Amumu's passive increases magic damage against targets. So if he autos them or if he ults, and then his W will refresh it, I think it increases it by 10%, I believe. So when you have a Swain and a Diana on your team, can really add to their burst. It adds essentially 10% extra true damage on top of what you'd normally hit.
Yeah, I mean, the Amumu is just a a similar version of what you have with the Nautilus, just doesn't do, kind of like a lesser version in opinion. Like, you know, Nautilus has an awful lot of engage, good tanky stats as well, and good ways of getting himself out. The Amumu goes in, and that's kind of all the Amumu does. So when you're throwing in those bandage tosses and you're trying to get that Curse of the Sad Mummy down, you are looking to try and just create a huge space for yourself. I will say, though, with the synergy you're going to have with the likes of the Gangplank Cannon Barrage alongside that, and of course the Diana, the extra little bit of damage, like you said, is going to be very significant even before we get to those big 5v5 team fights.
Yeah, and if you can lock people in place, there's so much potential for follow-up. Oh, you know, we saw the Amumu before from Wink for IG, and we saw him go for the early invade because, you know, you land that Q, that bandage toss, you close the gap, you lock them down, and then you can follow up with another one. One thing to mention, it is an Aftershock Amumu. We saw a Glacial Augment Amumu from Wink. I do think that, particularly with the amount of damage being thrown around in this game, Aftershock might help you out, just make you a little bit more bulky when it comes to those team fights.
Yeah, and we'll see what they want to try and go for it, but it is going to be an interesting one here for Anyone's Legend. They are impressing us right now. They are still doing very well. 3-2, probably a lot higher in the standings than they anticipated being. But V5 already sitting on 5 wins, knowing that they've taken down RNG already. This is Karsa's 400th game in the LPL. Congratulations to him. Don't forget, I always forget a lot of his career was, of course, in the LMS on the Flash Wolves. But again, it just feels like he's been here forever.
I think the crazy thing with V5's win rate so far is, I mean, it's the win rate. It's not just the fact they've won 5 series. JDG have won 6 series with a 75% win rate in games. V5 have won 5 series with a 91% win rate.
Dropped
the next
one
highest
game against
is Top
RNG.
Esports with 79%. So, like, it's not just the fact that V5 are winning series. They are winning a lot of games. And as you said, they've lost that one game against RNG that did end their undefeated game streak. But still, you know, that's what's scary about this matchup is AL as a team, you know, yes, they're good at finding comebacks. V5 are very good at getting a lead and establishing it and keeping hold of it. And on top of that, they are not a team liable to get upset.
Oh, Cho. Exhaust comes down. Betty trying to just keep his support in check. In fairness, they will trade back some damage onto ppgod, but yeah, that was, you can't be mistaken how much damage this Draven will do very early on, especially with the combination of having the Nautilus beside you. Just burst you out so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, especially the Draven does so much damage. The Nautilus is such a threat. Amumu is not that tanky early on, especially.
Karsa's ready. Karsa's ready. Yeah, that's a hell of a lot of damage. Actually, you can see Xiaohao saying, look, we want to go for this one. ppgod ticking down, but not quite getting taken out. It's actually a bit of a 2v2 and a 1v1 right now, because Karsa's saying, I can take him. Dream is trying to make his way down, but you can see everyone's just posturing differently. It's like 3 different fights on 3 different lanes.
Yeah, and I mean, Karsa, I think maybe overestimated his damage a little bit there. Taliyah just not doing quite as much as maybe he'd hoped. Do you see them set up the blue, and Xiaohao will be able to secure it? And V5, yeah, they'll spot it out, but won't really be able to do anything about it.
Photic and ppgod can't really go back to this wave until they know where Xiaohao is. They know there's a fair bit of CC available to QiuQiu, even at these early stages. When we have a look at the replay here, it looks like the bandage toss just kind of lands down. They just get a very good trade because the Aftershock, and now in the mid lane, we can already go back to live. Dream's forced to flash away because Forge had an exhaust to start off the match.
Yeah, so solid trade. They get the flash from Yone, which is honestly hard to burn because typically Yone has a lot of mobility with his Q dash and also his E to play around with. But yeah, I think the big thing for me, because one of the reasons we've seen Taliyah drop off in terms of priority is that she got the nerf to her Q damage. And I think you kind of saw that. It was just tickling Xiaohao in the extended fight. I was really thinking it would end up doing a bit more, but Xiaohao, despite not being on the strongest AD champion in the Diner, still able to cause issue for Karsa.
Already we're seeing Betty. Ooh, QiuQiu thought about maybe getting something there. This is a massive wave. Betty does not want to reset just yet. Karsa gonna steal away that camp, but Xiaohao is kind of following him in tow right now. They know this is going to be going on right now, so both AP junglers going in, trying to get that trade off. QiuQiu roams up, but with ppgod and Photic having the priority. And despite there being no kills, there's a hell of a lot of action happening in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, a ton of fighting going on. Xiaohao keeps finding Karsa. They keep matching, and Xiaohao seems to be getting the upper end of it in these trades. Karsa falling behind in farm as well. And bear in mind, both of these junglers are super fast farmers. Both of these junglers can really speed the jungle, especially if they get an item lead. So if one of them starts to find an advantage, if one of them starts to snowball, they will just completely take over the game.
Well, then maybe try and look for something here. We can already see the sweeper going out there to try and get rid of that ward. ppgod going to land the hook there and going to force Betty to flash away, but already Photic needs to try the disengage, and First Blood goes over to the side of anyone's legend. They're trying to see if they can catch out Photic, but it's still too early on in the game to be going for that kind of a tower dive. Anyone's legend going toe-to-toe.
Yeah, we saw V5's bot lane able to find the angle to try and jump on a Betty, but the problem was Xiaohao was there. Good covering from Xiaohao. He knew the wave was pushing out. He made sure he's present so this play can't come out from the side of V5.
Well, the Malefic Visions comes out to know that this blue buff is being taken, but Xiaohao really...
Visions of Empire. Malefic Visions is Malzahari.
Oh, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Too many names of too many things that sound too similar. But the Visions of Empire just spotted out. Xiaohao was nowhere near the blue, so could not contest it. So at the end of it all, Karsa got his blue stolen, but he got his stolen back. So it 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Yeah,
so it ends up being a trade, and Karsa taking the opportunity when he knows you can't match on the play that came out the bot lane. Still a positive for Xiaohao, and we're approaching the level 6 mark. Diana gets a massive spike at that point. We don't have the Diana ASO that we normally see, but still there's a lot of things to combo with. If you can grab people, pull them in, allows Forge to potentially set up with a big never move. We have the Curse of the Sad Mummy as well. I think it goes without saying how devastating that could be. And now people, I think you're caught out.
I think he is a little bit caught out here. There's going to be the Visions of Empire. Got it that time round. And these are going to be a lot of spears in the back of ppgod. And yeah, I mean, this is kind of the big question mark we always have about V5. They're great, but sometimes ppgod just gets a little bit too comfortable.
Yeah, he's trying to fish for pockets of vision so he can make plays, but AL keep catching him out. And it's one of the things I like about the Swain as well, is the range on his W is so large. Like, Forge just walked a little bit down for mid lane, pops W on the play. He's able to contribute. He gets a soul stack. He ends up adding a little bit of damage in to assist in the play and the slow as well. And I mean, shit, like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Swain is on the level of, like, Galio or Twisted Fate as, like, a super roaming mid laner. But just the fact that you can contribute to these plays without very much movement from mid is really a big positive of the champion.
And this is 2 kills now onto Kalista. This is Betty being set up for success. Even went for a slightly more defensive start, getting that Berserker Greave, or excuse me, the armored shoes to try and make sure he doesn't get caught out by the Draven. But this is starting to snowball against V5. And the thing with Draven is that, yes, he's going to be stacking up. 1 kill can change it all. But if he never gets that kill, he will just be perpetually behind in this bot side.
Yeah, really interesting seeing the Tabby, just because Berserker Greaves give so much attack speed, and obviously Kalista loves attack speed, but it makes sense, like, considering the composition you're up against. There's a lot of AD on the side of V5. It is only the Taliyah who is the AP threat.
Rich needs to flash away. He's already popped his ultimate. ZDZ's feeling confident. We saw it in the interview, how confident ZDZ is on this pick. He doesn't chain the barrels just yet, and Rich should be able to get himself away, but that was very close.
Close to finding it, but not quite able to keep on top of Rich. Rich able to get away on that one, but definitely not a positive state of the game to be in. And the fact you're down in farm in this matchup against a pick that will outskill you.
Talked about, ZDZ, he said in the interview just before we came onto screen that he's very comfortable on the Gangplank. He thinks it's an S-tier pick. He really does like this one and will pick it whenever it is available to him. And honestly, he's proving why, because this is he got a counter pick. This is the Aatrox to deal with the Gangplank. And honestly, it's getting kind of manhandled.
Yeah, and I feel like with GP, there are definitely lanes that he just does struggle into. But I feel like the way he plays into a lot of lanes comes down to the skill of the Gangplank, how he manages barrels, how he's able to get off his combos and stuff. There is a lot of skill expression on this champion, and the difference between a good GP and like a fantastic GP can be absolutely massive. So ZDZ definitely showing his mastery on the champion and able to establish dominance in the top lane. We do see AL going for that move to go for the Herald. Church started to roam up, but is now returned down. And bear in mind, with the Kalista ult, it's very easy for Betty to pull him in from a bit of a longer distance. Like, he doesn't have to be quite there to pose a potential threat to V5 if they try to dive. So, ultimately, Karsa gets Scuttle Crab. Karsa's going to get Raptors. Outside of that, Karsa ain't getting very much.
No, he really isn't. Rift Herald secured, and it's about 1,000 gold lead. Just a little bit under it, actually, for the side of Anyone's Legend. As they're kind of happy to keep scaling for now, but the scaling doesn't exactly work out in their favor. They need to be a bit more proactive. If the next dragon goes over in favor of Anyone's Legend, that's when the game starts to get a little bit more questionable. We will see Betty getting a reset now once he's cleared off this wave, and that's going to be an interesting one. I'm curious to see what he's able to pick up once he actually comes back into this lane, because he's not going to be too far off his first Immortal Shield Bow pickup. Yeah,
and you know what time it is, Machine, at this point of the game? We're 10 minutes in. Draven is 0-0-0. It's time to stack watch.
Rich? It is time to stack watch, but Witch is already popped his ultimate. He will sustain a little bit, but guess who's already behind him? Pretty sure he's just dead. No ultimate, no flash. ZDZ needs to be a bit careful as he does get caught off just a little bit, but with an orange, he'll be K, and Xiaohao gets a kill. Really solid play from Anyone's Legend, and again, reinforcing why we're so impressed by these guys.
I mean, the thing with Anyone's Legend is that the expectation is they'll be strong in team fights, but the early laning, maybe not as good. They have a scaling top laner. They have a jungler who's not the most active pre-6, and yet they're finding things. They're making it happen. Betty is ahead in the Kalista as well. This is all big positives. My concern still is Photic on that Draven. As I said before, it's time to stack watch. Photic will have undoubtedly stacked up a substantial amount at this point. Hopefully we'll get to see them sometime soon, but it can mean all the difference if Draven can cash in or get shut down. And we'll get a replay. Rich just overcommitting in these heavy trades when you don't have coverage on this side of the map. Like, he knows Karsa's on the opposite side. He knows that the way the game has played out so far, Karsa and Xiaohao have been on opposite sides of the map consistently. So if you know your jungler's bot, you should expect Xiaohao to be top. And yet he just goes so heavy in for this and ends up going down.
Yep, pays the price. Very heavy tax from the weak side police, as Cadril will call it. And we see actually a bit of an engage coming in on bot side. ppgod going to take about half or maybe a third of his HP down, but the rest of V5 are thinking about maybe making a dive in. You do have the Weaver's Wall to cut off an escape and get yourself into that position. Still very difficult to do against an Amumu and a Kalista who have got access to their flashes, and actually we might even see another engage coming out here. There's the cannon barrage. ppgod flashes, but why? You are dead anyway. Now Photic gets caught out. He's forced to cleanse. And honestly, this is Anyone's Legend just destroying V5 in every lane.
Yeah, V5 just overstepped. QiuQiu finds a nice engage, and then the fact that he gets the cleanse from Photic as well, fantastic. Now Herald going to be put down bot, some more gold for Betty. They didn't manage to take out the Draven, but they are getting so much from this play. Should just be able to pick up the second dragon for themselves as well, and it's everything AL right now.
Everything AL all the time, and Photic, he's sitting on, what, 294, nearly 300 stacks of his passive, but that's not really going to be enough. Now QiuQiu lands a stun on the Dream. He's forced to use his Fate Seal defensively. Karsa flashes away. Aux, what is happening? What happened to V5?
Dude, this is AL. This is AL. Absolute beast mode in this game. And I feel like V5 are being punished, but AL are the ones setting up the plays, making it happen. This is the #1 team in the league in terms of game win rate right now in V5. In fact, they've only dropped one game, and yet AL are in control of this one and really bringing it to them.
It's only about a 2,000 gold lead, not even, about 1,500, but you can see it just bit by bit, the confidence building. You also have a Kalista when you are stacking dragons, and it's an Infernal Drake as well to boot. That is just so good for your composition. And V5, they got to start thinking about how to be proactive back into this, and this is why, you know, this might be a game where they start to miss someone like Rookie, that big voice, that senior veteran who knows how to bring back this kind of a game, because at the moment they are falling bit by bit, slowly but surely, further and further behind. Yeah, Mythics start to come in. We can see across the board, AL have all of theirs, whereas V5, they have Photic share, they have Riches, but Triforce complete for ZDZ, Rocket Belt for Xiaohao, Mandate for Forge, and the Shield Bow for Betty. They're just getting stronger, and I feel like this game, you know, if Photic cashes in, that Goldie could be instantly deleted. I'm assuming, I want to see how many stacks he's got. I gotta assume it's like a pretty high number, maybe 600 plus at this point of the game, considering we have 40 minutes of him just farming. It can make all the difference, right? If you cash in, it could be such a substantial amount of gold, and it looks like V5 are trying to set up an opportunity for him to get that cash in. Well, they know it opens up on that top side. ZDZ already just backing himself away. They're very well aware.
Please observe this. Click on the Draven.
Yeah, they're just gonna look at top side and bot at the same time, because you can't contest this on the weak side as Rich, so he rightfully backs away. But you're getting a tower for nothing at the moment. You're gonna have free roam now as anyone in Legends bot lane. You're gonna have an opportunity to get yourself set up on the map for whatever objective you want. I think it will be the Rift Herald in 45 seconds, and even then you can see the Vision of Empires just doing nicely just to kind of tickle down these waves, and I don't think you get this tower. Yeah,
they're doing a match the tower. The Gangplank, ZDZ does a great job backing away, doesn't get picked up, comes back in to clear the wave. V5 have to reset, try to get back up on the map, but they won't even trade evenly. They're just trading down. 2,000 gold difference at this point. And AL in a comfortable spot. Herald is going to be up in 15 seconds. We'll see if AL want to try and prioritize that one, but it looks like with QiuQiu and Xiaohao moving together, that should be the goal.
All right, we're looking at the Rift Herald going to be coming up now. There will be a... where's he on? 331 stacks. So it's not actually as large as we thought it to be. With his admiration.
31. Okay,
yeah, that's
grossly over-exaggerated.
Yeah. Hasn't been catching those axes, apparently. CS, but definitely not a lot of axes caught. As we do see the Cannon Barrage come out here. Karsa maybe going to look to try and punish out ZDZ, but he walks away from the seismic shove. And there's not really a lot you can do. And this is the problem of V5's composition. It's very good if you can get on top of targets, but the longer this game goes on, the harder it becomes to lock down even people like ZDZ.
Yeah, and ZDZ is doing a fantastic job just playing on this weak side. All comes down. And bear in mind, remember, Photic's ultimate will execute you if when it hits you, you end up lower health than the amount of stacks he has. So as you said, 300 stacks now. If his ult puts you on a 300 XP, it will just execute you. That's a quite big margin. It's only going to get bigger if he keeps stacking up. So AL definitely need to be careful, but they secure the Herald, they secure the top lane tower. They should be able to reset and move down towards bot lane. If they can get this third dragon, it puts them in such a good position for this game.
Yeah, it really, really does. And honestly, anyone's Legend, this is kind of their game to lose right now. I feel like they have all the cards. You can even see it there. Forge 3 levels ahead of... Oh, Dream almost found someone there. Not quite able to catch him out, but, you know, Forge 3 levels ahead of Photic. That's a massive margin. If Photic gets caught out, he will die very, very quickly. He hasn't built up a lot of sustainability. He actually just has pure damage at the moment, trying to get his Essence Reaver in as quickly as he possibly can, but this is going to be a difficult fight here for the side of V5. They are trying to set up around this dragon now with the TP coming in here from Dream. It's gonna be tight.
Okay, so 372 stacks. Anyone who doesn't know, they did buff his stacks a bit ago to give more gold. That's 970 gold from stacks alone. It's 2.5 per stack and an extra 40 gold on top. So nearly 1,000 gold just from his stacks if he gets a cash in. And obviously the kill gold as well. There's a couple of bounties going around, so, you know, regardless of the outcome of the fight, we need to see Photic.
It could be big. They don't quite catch him out perfectly, as they do have to use the ultimate there as they try and jump back in on top of this. There's going to be Forge jumping onto Karsa, and Dream goes down immediately. The golden stasis of Karsa, and there's the cash in for Photic, but can he survive the rest of the fight? That's the question. Karsa has fallen down, and look how powerful Forge is. The Never Move catches onto 2. Forge is a force of nature right now as they keep pushing forward, looking for more blood for the Blood God. Anyone's Legend. Yes, they got a cash in for V5, but it does not matter because they're going to break open the base at 18 minutes.
Herald's still alive, gets another charge in. They could just take the inhib tower and then go back to the dragon. Yes, as you said, cash in comes in. 1,000 gold for V5, and yet they're 4,000 gold down. Forge on the Swain. The pick he's relied on so far this split, absolutely massive, just gliding through that fight. I've got the replay coming out. QiuQiu goes to the initial engage, ends up getting chunked. That's the power of the Kalista. Gets brought back in, able to find a new opportunity. A nice route from Forge into the R flash from QiuQiu. They catch out both of them, and then Forge, remember, Band-Aid, every time it's procced, it's giving you movement speed, and he's just pushing forwards further and further into this fight. Diving the tower, he does not care.
That Never Move, dragging both ppgod and Photic right back into it. And the thing is that you've used everything now as V5, and we're going to come straight back into live because QiuQiu got caught out, so Photic gets another shutdown. This is now the Photic show. Photic needs to carry this V5 team because he's the only one with any kind of relevant gold.
I will say, little bit smaller cash in that time than previously. But still, yeah, Photic has got a lot of gold. I honestly feel at this point maybe similar level to Betty, which is kind of crazy considering the stacks that came in. But we see the replay. Photic, no flash, no ultimate for Kalista save, is a fairly easy pick target. And that's the thing, is V5 can look for those pick opportunities, but teamfights is going to be so hard at this point. Forge is just such a hard target to deal with because the Draven's not doing that much damage. Draven doesn't want to be in range. Everyone on V5 is short range, which is the sort of scenario which Forge thrives in. And on top of that, the things that come out from V5, the burst from the Yone, the burst from the Taliyah can be mitigated by the fact he has that Zhonya's. Now, they are looking for him. And remember, isolated, a mandate Swain isn't as strong. You obviously can't proc it yourself. You need a teammate there. So he'll just play a little bit careful.
I mean, just kind of smart play coming out from Forge. Does anyone's legend finally get QiuQiu back onto the map? See if they can maybe get some vision control around this Baron, and that's exactly what they're going to do. 3 minutes, though, and we will have an Infernal Soul available to anyone's legend. This is 21, nearly 21 minutes into the game, and they should have 3 items onto the Swain. He's very close to a Rylai's Crystal Scepter before this next big fight begins.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a massive spike. I feel like if he gets the Rylai's, it just makes things so hard for V5. And we see Xiaohao doing a ton of damage at the moment. ZDZ onto 2 items, working on his 3rd. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what Photic can necessarily do in this situation. I feel like he needs some more armor pen as well into the amount that's been stacked up already from AL. The fact you have Tabby on Betty, Forge already has the Zhonya's, Tabby on ZDZ, you have the Seeker's Arm Guard for Xiaohao. Everyone is just building up these items to really trim down the damage being dealt out by the carries from V5.
All right, let's start setting ourselves up now for 2 minutes time. V5 are going to be happy to kind of like keep ping-ponging these waves, but how do they want to approach a dragon fight? How do they want to try and stop AL from getting that soul and making sure that they're keeping themselves in this game?
Yeah, I think a pick would go a long way if you can potentially find one
right
on an isolated member. It looks like they heard me.
Yeah, they knew exactly. They said, no, never mind, Aux. We got this one. You got to be careful, though. ZDZ's still very powerful on this Gangplank. We'll be able to delay just a little bit. There's the Cannon Barrage to kind of pepper down these health bars. He's 1v2ing very well right now. He's dancing. He's moving it away. Rich will fall. And in a 1v2, they get a 1-for-1. And now anyone's letting go for the Baron.
And that's the worst target to go down because Dream TP bot. Rich was the one who had to TP the Baron. Oh, but they take out the jungler.
Karsa, it's going to be a 50-50, but it's not quite a 50-50 because you have the Rend. Karsa jumps into the pit with his flash. They do get the ultimate down onto Photic, but Photic's now free hitting on the backside. I don't know if he feels super comfortable walking into Forge. They flash away. Betty trying to keep himself alive. Dream has now joined the fight. They will not land anything, but QiuQiu has to give up his life in honor of his team. Anyone letting get the Baron, but would they get anyone else out?
Man, what a crazy passage of play there. The bot lane play coming out from V5 ends up getting punished. ZDZ turning it around fantastically. And then AL. That was messy. Okay, Xiaohao goes down. They rely on the Ren from Betty to get it and get it. He does. But they do lose a couple of members. But now they have Baron, right? They have that 4,000 gold lead still present. We now have a situation where we have Smite from Forge and Xiaohao and Rend, and they're going towards the soul. We'll see the replay. And Dream, I'm not sure why he held his ult for so long. I guess maybe waiting for the perfect opportunity where ZDZ can't dodge it, but he misses that first knock-up. And then he actually misses the ult as well here. And obviously, if you ult when you have your E active, it's going to stack that damage. So, just ends up not being the ideal play. Karsa then picks off Xiaohao, who just doesn't respect the Taliyah threat over the wall. But we don't have time for more of the replay. We need to go on a live. This is the soul fight.
This is the soul fight. This is Infernal Soul here for anyone's legend if they can secure it. They've got the Rylai's Crystal Scepter now onto Forge. He has no flash. A lot was burned in that last fight, but Xiaohao, the big engage here for anyone's legend, still has his and the Moonfall. Never moves are going to have to be very well navigated here by V5. They've got themselves around the pit, though. Karsa, though, not quite there. He does have the Weaver's Wall to maybe separate away anyone's legend. That's exactly what they're going to try and do, but he hasn't quite done it just yet. They do cast a dive removal on ppgod, and ppgod flashes away, but it's not for naught. You can see there Betty getting caught out by Rich. Is Photic as well, trying to put the damage here onto Forge, who goes golden. They still got the Cannon Barrage coming down. Karsa gets popped, and anyone's legend are taking V5 to the cleaners.
They get the soul. They manage to secure it. And Karsa, he tries to cut them off. AL don't care. They'll just go in. They push forwards, and Forge on this Swain, once again, an absolute monster, just stands in front of Photic and says, and what?
I mean, this is just so good from Anyone's Legend right now. They've caught out V5 at every point. Rich now trying to walk away from this, but I don't think he's going to be getting away from this. There's just too much damage. There's too many people around him. They're even deciding who they want to give it to. They give it to ZDZ. 5, 1, and 2. And now Photic.
Betty, how are you there?
Betty looking for a little bit of a 1v2 situation. He's going to try and go for it, and he gets some! He just gets enough rends in. A double kill for Betty. You doubted him, and he proved you wrong.
One of those moments where when you have Ginsus with Kalista and you stop hopping and you just stack as fast as you can. Betty loads Photic up with spears, takes him out, and with that, I feel like all the hopes of V5 are gone as well. 7,000 gold lead, and that's before AL do all the damage to the base they're looking for right now.
I mean, this was just such a good performance here from Anyone's Legend. We can see them now trying to go for something here. Ooh, good pop back there. Betty is going to die. So, good catch out here by Karsa. It will stop the rest of the base going down. V5 have got themselves a little bit of a respite, but this is a hard game now for V5.
Yeah, this is a challenge at this point. I think, honestly, as rough as it is for V5, the team who've only dropped a single game, and that was to RNG, you're looking at game 2, because I don't see a way out from here. Get the replay of the fight, and Forge just pushes forward. They have great engagement up from QiuQiu. But watch, you have Dream and Photic just occupied by the Swain. When it's popping the Zhonya's, buying more time. ZDZ gets the burst to follow up, and it just didn't even feel close.
It really doesn't. 3.5 items now onto your Swain, your Gangplank, your Kalista, and Infernal Soul. Those barrels that we were talking about, they're going to hurt like an absolute truck. They are just going to smash you if you get caught by them. Dream is going to think about going for it, but Xiaohao says, no, you do not get this tower. You are not getting any more gold than you can possibly need. And honestly, it's going to lead down to Anyone's Legend maybe make a mistake. You get a good pick off as Karsa, and Photic gets some good kills. Like, again, I think Photic is the only one you can really rely on at the moment because he's the only one who's, like, equal on items. Yeah,
I feel like the problem is everyone's so bulky. There's Zhonya's on the front line. This is the thing. It's like, if you have a tank on the front line, they can buy time with their health, right? The problem with Xiaohao and Forge is, like, when the Zhonya's is popped, it's like, you can't just walk at them. It's not like, wait, Forge just popped his ultimate, and his Zhonya's just not like, okay, this gives me time to reposition. It gives you time to back off, but, like, you can't hit them, you can't walk past them, otherwise you'll just end up getting trapped in the Rylai Permaslow Crow Storm.
Well, ZDZ going to find himself in a familiar situation, but this time around they've brought a friend. They've brought the Taliyah, Karsa there to try and make sure they get the confirmed kill here, but that happens, and then all of a sudden Anyone's Legend say, cool, we know there's 3 bot, we're going to catch out one of your players, and now you got to try and reset right now as V5 because you don't have control over mid lane.
Yeah, it's still, I don't know. Actually, I'm going to say this is actually kind of a bad play for V5 because the spawn timers are longer for AL. The problem is, V5 lost their support, right? They brought 3 members bot, they kill enemy top laner, but ZDZ will respawn, and it's not a problem. The fact that ppgod dies means they're going to struggle to set up vision around this Baron spawning in 20 seconds. And trust me, if you play into AL when you don't have vision, it is pretty doomed. So you can see they're now moving up towards the area, but they don't have anyone to slam wards down.
Yeah, they're going in blind for the moment. They finally get the Nautilus back onto the field. ZDZ will spawn up in about 5 seconds, but he's not going to be feeling too hard done by that. We'll be waiting for his cannon barrage, but should be up in about 30 or so seconds. So the Baron is live, but Anyone's Legends know they don't want to throw away this lead. Level 16 now for Forge. He is pretty damn strong, pretty damn big. And Anyone's Legend, they know they're not quite as a 5-man just yet. They don't want to go 3v4, and Rich should be able to pick up the tower in the top side.
Yeah, we see V5 obviously got ppgod there now, set up some vision control in the area. But realistically, they're not going to start Baron, because being trapped in the pit against AL would be an absolute nightmare. So they'll back away, they'll go and deal with the waves. I think AL should go for the Baron now. The reason being is Elder, you could lose Elder. Like, if it gets stolen by a smite, V5 could just win the game off the back of that, right? It's enough team fighting power that despite the Infernal Soul, despite the gold lead, you could still lose. With Baron, it's less of a risk. Even if V5 steal the Baron, you can still end up winning the fight. But it looks like AL aren't willing to do so. Maybe thinking, we have the Kalista Rend, we feel more secure in that.
Oh, Photic needs to be careful. The never move does not land, but this is the problem now for the side of V5. You don't really get to pick and choose where you go this fight, where you get to fight this. You got to choose wherever AL pick this fight. And right now, AL are saying we don't want to go for any objective as of the moment. Xiaohao was sitting over the wall. ppgod sniffed it out. They backed themselves away. There is still a pick ward here in the pit, so they do not know that there is full vision here. And actually 3 pink wards, very nicely done here by V5 to make sure they know exactly what's going on. Now that Baron has been spawned, no one really in position for V5. They've got double PPs. They've got it. Yeah, I think it's too late. I don't think they've got anything to say about this one here. They will get the Draven ultimate, but the smite was good from Xiaohao. Actually, he didn't even smite. Actually, that was scary.
Whoa. These are late recalls. I know that Baron recalls, but V5 are at the Elders. It's 5 seconds to go. Xiaohao's still in the vicinity, but like they're giving up a lot of pressure in the Dragon area. CDZ's gonna TP in. They're just gonna try and wall it off and rush.
They're going to try and rush it, but I don't know if they have the damage. They now have Forges over the side, and now that Taliyah wall's gone down. Forge is now going to pop his ultimate to keep himself alive. He goes into Zonya's. The cannon barrage is beautiful. Look at the damage right now. And Betty is free-hitting Photic, Dream, ppgod, Rich, and Karsa. They all fall. Triple kill for Betty, and anyone's Legend are taking the advantage in this best of 3.
5v1, and Forge says, I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me. Just turns it around, flashes in, and they just can't do anything to him. He's so tanky now. He's just dealing all the AoE damage. The cannon barrage is as well on top to proc the mandate, and then Betty comes in for the cleanup. Fantastic game for Mayel. They hand V5 their 2nd game loss of the season, and they proved that they are really looking on form this split.
I mean, this is a statement win. It's not quite the series, it's just a game, but a hell of a lot of positives to bring out here for anyone's Legend. Really, really smart play. Everyone playing to their win conditions and just punishing a lot of, honestly, just very silly mistakes from V5. And that's the thing, is that some bigger teams can make silly mistakes, but it doesn't matter because they're the bigger teams. They hands diff you. There's nothing you can do about it. But V5 just couldn't quite make it stick, and anyone's Legend rightfully punished them.
Yeah, and I was honestly concerned about this matchup because AL tend to struggle early and V5 tend to be good at closing out when they have a lead. But AL actually really stepped up the early game, punishing quite effectively despite a composition I didn't necessarily think was going to take over in the early levels. Xiao had a fantastic game, and then the team fighting from AL is just excellent. I mean, I love watching this team play because they always approach how they want a team fight. They look at the comps win cons, they make it happen. Very effective at executing on them, even at a deficit. In this game, they're ahead. You could see Forge, the sheer confidence to be isolated, waiting for your team and go, actually, I can make this happen. I'm going to flash in on 5 people, get that max AoE damage for the charts. Oh, just beautiful to see.
Yeah, and it highlighted, like, I don't think this was one individual. This wasn't Dream's fault. This wasn't, you know, ppgod's fault, even though he did try his best to, you know, give as much over to the side of anyone's Legend. This was consistently from top to bottom, everyone on V5 underperforming. And I think that's a massive issue now for V5 coming into the next game, is that this composition did not work. You gave comfort to ZDZ, Forge as well, and you gave over a very powerful ADC after the Zeri was banned. You didn't go with the Lucian, and you didn't have any answers with the Renata or the Tahm Kench. Now, the Tahm Kench ban makes a lot of sense for us because it was basically saying, right, Betty won't be able to kill off a Draven inside a Tahm Kench, but he can hell do it if there's only a Nautilus.
I mean, realistically, I feel like you're never going to play Draven Tom, but the fact that Photic ppgod looks so good on center Tom, as I said, probably best center Tom in the world, having it denied away from them. Rich on the Aatrox did not look comfortable, especially in his ZDZ's GP, which, as you said, is a pocket pick. Betty and Chocho, I mean, Chocho on something like an Amumu just seems right up his alley. Heavy engaged champion, looking for those all-ins. The fact he has the ultimate from Betty to back him up, but ultimately, I feel like Forge on this Swain is just, people can't deal with it, you know? Thrives in these team fight scenarios. V5 picked a short range comp. They have 3 melee champions and 2 champions who are mid-ranged at best. And as a result, when he got into the mix, he was just impossible to deal with. You saw the fact that 5 members are trying to deal with him in that final fight, and he just won't go down. The fact is the Infernal Soul for that extra damage, the Cannon Barrage on top to prop the mandate, it's just bonuses. But at the end of the day, they just couldn't cut through him.
No, they could not. Anyone's Legend now, surprisingly, 1-0 up in this best of 3. We're going to send it to a break, and when we return, we'll see if V5 can bounce back. We'll see you soon.